Good morning. Welcome to the press conference for Eagle football. Thank you for coming. The Eagles won their quarterfinal matchup 35-0 over the weekend. It was a great weekend. I'd like to say first off how proud I am of the behavior of our young men on our overnight trip in another town. We received multiple compliments from people in the town and people at the restaurants we went to and in the hotel about how well behaved our kids were, which is always a good thing for a football program, because we deal with a large number of kids, and any large number of teenage boys, you're going to have a few knuckleheads. And they all did a great job behaving and acting like perfect gentlemen, and they played great in the football game. I'd like to open it for questions.
In the third quarter, the Eagles scored a touchdown after you went for it on a 4th and 1 yard to go with the ball on the Eagles' 35-yard line. What made you decide to go for it instead of punting?
You know, that 4th down play, I honestly, the reason I went for it is because I thought I heard one of our defensive coaches saying, just go for it, like get the first down. Otherwise, I would have punted the ball. Turns out that they weren't, that nobody said that. So, we were just fortunate that it happened to work when we went for it.
Can you go ahead and kind of recap how the game went?
Well, Bolivar was an excellent football team. They have a quarterback who's committed to the University of Arkansas in the SEC. And so we knew that we had to stop him in order to have a chance to win the game. The defensive line and linebackers did a great job of getting off blocks and getting to him early, and didn't really let him get across the line of scrimmage much at all, or let him get in the open field where he could use his speed. So that started off the game right, and then we got the ball, and we felt like we had a physical advantage over Bolivar. So, when we got the ball, we went ahead and ran it, and 4 plays and 81 yards later, we had our first touchdown of the first quarter, and that kind of set the tone for the game. And then when Bolivar got into a situation where they saw that they couldn't match up with our kids physically at the line of scrimmage, they had no choice but to try to throw the football, and there was some wind, and we were getting good pressure on the quarterback, and forced him into some bad throws, and we were able to pick off the passes. And we've worked tremendously hard for 4 years. Probably the number one thing that we've tried to instill in our kids, and it doesn't make all their moms happy, but we've tried to instill toughness in our kids, and we've worked very hard at treating them in a way that would encourage them to view themselves as being tough, and it's paying off as the season is rolling on, because I think that each week of the last 4 weeks we've just imposed our will on our opponents, and you can just see our opponents quit and give up towards the end of the game. And I think that our kids have done a great job of developing that characteristic in themselves. And we're proud of them.
Are you seeing any leaders now that you're towards the end of the season?
Well, right now, we'll start with do we see leaders? All of our kids are lead by example kids. They're all workers. They all have they all have focus and intensity, and I would say that. I would say that in style of play, someone like Bryce Shepard is doing an outstanding job of leading our team. He kind of, he's a physical young man, and he wants to hit, and he never stops, and he goes. And I think that kind of bleeds over to the team. Bryce isn't the guy who's going to stand up and give an eloquent speech about the passion required to play the game, but you can see it on his face when he's out there, the passion, and I think that that spreads to the rest of the team. I think Nick Hess is the same way. I think that Chris Woodbury's the same way. I mean, even Sal Silvio is playing physical, hard-nosed football, and I think that right now what's happening is our kids are feeding off each other, and so in that sense, they're all leaders.
Who were offensive and defensive players of the game?
Offensive player of the game was Marvin Shoemate. He ran for 205 yards. And defensive player of the game was Bryce Shepard, who truly is kind of the symbol of our football team right now, in my opinion. He's probably the toughest kid we have out there, although some would argue with that. And I probably just got Bryce into a fist fight saying that. Someone's going to challenge him now. But he's a true football player, and he plays hard all the time on both sides of the ball. And he'll hit and hit and hit no matter how tired he is, no matter how tired he gets of hitting. And he's getting better every week at the linebacker position on defense, and he was our defensive player of the game. Harrison Trinidad was our special teams player of the game. He's doing a great job in his special teams role, and he's doing a great job when he gets on the field and as a fullback and a linebacker as well. Young man Austin Patton was our demo squad player of the week, and the thing that we're excited about is how many seniors we have who have been demo squad player of the week this year. We've had J.J. Jennings, we've had Austin Patton, we've had Caleb Pate. It goes down the line, and those are the kind of team players that every program needs. Those kids who are willing to go out and make their team better and maybe not get the glory on Friday nights or when the games happen, but they are a huge part of what makes what goes on in those games happen. And to hang on to those guys who are willing to take that role for several years, I think is a testament to our coaching staff and the fact that kids still want to come out and do that for a football team, because that's a sacrifice. The neat thing about it in this season is we always tell the kids every year, if you stay in that role, something big is going to happen for you at some point. And, Austin Patton got in a game earlier in the year and got an interception, in a varsity game. Caleb Pate got a touchdown a couple weeks ago. JJ has the fans chanting his name, and he runs out there. So, if you just hang in there long enough, something good's going to happen for you, and those guys are a testament to it. I'm proud of them.
What did it do for your team's confidence winning against an undefeated team like
Well, it's always a confidence builder when you win. The fact that they were undefeated, I think our kids have a pretty level head on their shoulder. I think before the game, if you'd asked them what would it feel like to beat a 12-0 football team, they would have said that'd be great. But after the game, they're probably just saying that team shouldn't have been undefeated. And so instead of thinking of themselves as having accomplished something huge, I think that they are looking at it and seeing the reality of it, that we were just the better football team, and that we're gonna face better opponents in the future, and we better be ready to go.
Were you satisfied with how your team played during the game?
We are never satisfied. Am I proud of how they played? Absolutely. Do we need to get better? Absolutely. Jeff City Helias is probably among the top, one or two football teams that we've played this year. They're solid in every regard, and we still make mistakes, and we need to eliminate those mistakes if we want to win. So I'm not satisfied that we're a Final Four team now. I'm happy we're a Final Four team. I'm not satisfied. I'm happy that we beat Bolivar. That's a big win for our program, but we're not satisfied with the way we played. And like we've told the kids, as soon as you get satisfied this time of year, as soon as you get satisfied, that's a sign that the end is near. So we don't want to be satisfied right now. 3 at a time. All right.
Marvin didn't start your program, and now he's being one of your players in the game. What's it like gaining a player like him?
Well, we've with the boundary change, and he lives in our boundaries, and he came on up here with his brother Sid. That's having Marvin has been huge, and Sid's going to be a big part of what we do in the future as well. The kind of the way I look at it, that probably should have been the boundary line 4 years ago, and we wouldn't have all this mess right now. But it's great to have Marvin. He's an outstanding running back, and he's a good kid, and I think he's really learned through the course of the year not only how to play the position, but I also see a lot of maturity growth in him, and a lot of understanding of being a team player, and playing with a good attitude, and receiving coaching without getting your head down and things like that. I mean, I think he's grown a great deal. I think that he's benefited from the boundary change, and I think that we have as well in that regard with Marvin.
How are you preparing for your game against Elias on Saturday?
Well, in preparations for a game in week 14, it'll be our 14th game of the season. In preparing for that, you can't reinvent the wheel. You've just kind of got to let it ride. We got to make sure that we apply everything that we do to what Elias does, and just make sure that we're ready for everything that they're going to do. But in preparation, we practice shorter than what we had. With school starting so late now and getting out so late, we don't have much daylight anyway to go outside and practice. So we have to be done before the sun goes down, and the sun's going down by 5:30 or so. So we can't get more than an hour and 45 minutes of practice in anyway, which comes at a good time, because now's the time when we need to lay off their legs and things like that. So in our preparation, it's going to be just like last week's preparation. It's too late to invent a new offense or a new defense right now. We just need to ride the horse that brought us. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for coming, and go Eagles.